Good morning, everybody. Whoa, it is another beautiful Sunday in the Delaware Valley. Wait a second. I'll go back to that. Yeah. We got to get rid of that.
Oh, you want me to fix that?
Yes, please fix that.
Is that
There
better?
we go.
Is that better?
It's a lot better. See, this morning it is not P and M in the AM. It is A and M in the AM because we got the P out of here. Actually, Pat's up in upstate New York. He covered the Philadelphia Wings last night. So it's me and the guy behind the glass. But
They
there's
moved
no
the glass.
They moved the glass. Al Safiri. Good morning, Al.
Good morning, Mike. I'd say the show got prettier, but let's not get crazy with
Yeah.
it.
I mean, one thing is it's definitely less meat free. I guess this morning don't have to do the
I was
coffee.
sitting there. I was contemplating driving in. I'm like, do I try to make Mike make coffee this morning? Do I do my best Pat
No.
Ambler impression?
Listen, I need a break. I need a break.
Well, I'll let you go. What's going on, Food? Nice.
Food. Good morning, fellas. Let's say, Ritz, I'm not going to lie. I'm ready to trade Embiid. Somebody's coming around to my side on this one, finally. I can't deal with this.
We're going to get to that.
We're going to get into that there, Ritz. But, yeah. Man, how about those fightings, huh?
They won the last 4 games in a row. I believe they only lost, one in the last
2. They lost 2. They lost 2 in the homestand, and then they're 2-0 now. But, I mean, this is a pretty big road trip. I mean, they got pretty good. They got Houston, finishing up Houston tonight, and then they got LA.
The Dodgers, and they come back and play the Red Sox.
The Red Sox. The Red Sox been a little feisty team, too, this year.
And the other thing is we'll touch on it in a moment is the Dodgers series. What makes that important is not so much playing the Dodgers, but Mr. Bryce Harper's out there seeing his doctor for possible clearance to DH. Okay. So that could be some bigger news now that this team is jiving, and that's the key thing. And I wanted to bring it up to you, Mike. Is I did the fighting finals last night, and I
have it tonight.
Yeah,
I'm going to be on EOP all day long, fellas. So make sure you tune in.
Are you sure? I wasn't sure. Talk to Matty B. I thought he had it because it was a late game.
No, it said Sunday me, but if Matty wants it, he can definitely take it.
So we'll talk to him afterwards. I thought he said, but maybe I was misreading something. But the question I had to you, and we've talked about this before on the air a couple of times. The fact that the Phillies went deep into the postseason, all the way into November, and look at Houston. They're struggling. They're almost the same.
They're starting to get their sea legs too. They were starting to,
and they're missing a key player and everything. They're about a game over 500, I think, at this point.
Yeah, they're 14-13.
Yeah, so we're 2 games over 500, which is exciting in its own. Luckily, the no other team has ran away with it, so it's kept us in the standings as well, which we'll go over. I know looking at the standings right now in April, almost May now, is kind of ridiculous. But
you can't start looking at that until me. I honestly, when it comes to baseball, I don't start paying attention to the standings until around the All-Star break.
Well, the only time you pay attention to the standings in April, May, and June
is when your team's in first place.
Yeah, or you have a team, or that, or the other way around. Your team's just like we were last year. You were looking, you're like, oh, we're 12 games, 14 games behind the Mets.
Yeah. Like, how are we going to catch up?
Yeah, like that, even if they started playing better, like that's a tough task to cover. But that's what I'm saying. The only good part is that there's no team. I think they're only 3.5 games out in the NL East right now.
Yeah, well, Atlanta played the Mets this weekend too, so they've been kind of going back and forth. So,
All right. I'm going to put this up there, so don't keep. Somebody's using his Twitch this afternoon. I don't know if he snuck in or something.
Oh, don't care.
Yeah,
don't care.
I feel bad for your wife.
Yeah. He's got to look at that, not us.
Yeah, not us.
God bless her eyes.
That's Pat from Manly checking in.
What kind of goober gets on? Dude, you're off. You're off. Like
he's off something. He's off his meds.
Yeah, off his meds, off his rocker, something.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's off.
But but I mean, was there something to the fact that they went later, especially with the older guys like Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler, as well as the World Baseball Classic, for how fun it was to watch, because I did really enjoy that. It was like the first non-Major League Baseball thing I probably actually sat down and watched and kept an eye on for a long time. I couldn't even remember. And then so the team and whatever, and just. Does that play? Do you think that actually played a factor after all this?
Yeah, because Dre wasn't here to gel with his team. He only had 2 weeks. JT was there. Kyle Schwarber was there. So those three guys really they had to come back and kind of almost be reintroduced with their team. And it was kind of like a split spring training for them, if you really look at it, because they went from like getting their arms loose and everything like that to being with Team USA. Now you're playing competition games,
Yeah.
which were, I mean, if you look at it for the type of games they were, the crowd atmosphere for those things were unreal.
Yeah.
So me personally, I feel that, with the Phillies going long, I mean, if you take a look at '09, right?
Yeah.
Phillies go to the World Series, they win the World Series, they come back the next year. Like, they didn't get off to a great start, if you remember that.
No.
Like, people were like looking at them going, what's up with this team? They're defending. I mean, I remember they got rocked, but didn't it get, if I remember it, didn't Atlanta sweep them in the home opening series? Or
In 2009.
yeah, it was either they got swept or they won one game. But
Yeah.
they started out really horrible.
Well, I mean, I keep telling people they're still off to a better start than they did last year, and they went to the World Series. So
They got a better team than they had a year ago. And I'll tell you what, this bullpen is really, really starting to line itself up. If they can stay healthy, like some of the older guys on there, like a Kimbrel, if he can stay healthy, this is going to be a dominant bullpen because they don't have a closer. They have a closer by committee, but they can hit you with so many different angles.
well, so let's kind of watch the evolution of where we are. What 25-ish games into it now? Whatever.
Nah, we're over 30.
I'm at 30. No, we're under 30.
We're
29. 28.
We're 28. Okay.
20 tonight would be the 29. So we're 28 games in. Let's look at the evolution of how this all started. So came in, we're playing the Rangers. You didn't know what to get from the Rangers because Rangers can be a good team, especially in the beginning of the year, and then fall off. It's kind of been their MO for many years. But they got a new coach in Bruce Bochy, and they have some power hitters, and they seem to be.
And they got two frontline starters.
Yeah.
Too. I mean, they went out and got the Grom. You got Nathan Eovaldi, who pitched a really good game last night too.
So that team's a lot improved, and we struggled mightily against them. And of course, we lost. We were swept in that series. Not the way you're looking to start the year after going to your NL champs. Then you went to New York. You slinked your first win from them. Come home for a home opener with just one win under your belt. Did well against a poor Reds team. Should have swept them, but that's where the problems were. Like you were seeing, the team was haphazard.
They were tripping over.
It looked like 9 guys put on a field to play baseball, not a team that was jiving and gelling that we've seen. That's something I think plays into the factor. Let's see what Steve's saying here. When the weather has been the way it's been, it exaggerates the symptoms of any injury. I think that's why they've all have all the ambivalence with JoJo's injury. Okay, we'll get into that in a little bit, Steve. But thank you. I thought you were talking about the Phillies. But and then okay, so now you're like, all right, they're gonna get their juice back now. They got their rings, they celebrated the NL championship, blah blah. But then they continue to struggle. Then they play a team like the Marlins, wallop the Marlins against arguably one of the best pitchers in the National League,
right,
with Sandy Alcantara. And then you're like, all right, yeah, this team's back. And then they lose the next 2 to them. They go back out to Cincinnati, struggle against them. They struggle against the Sox, but kept their White Sox.
Yeah, well, the White Sox. I mean, if they didn't take 2 or 3 from them, that would have been because the White Sox are a AAA team.
Yeah, and that's the thing is that they were just struggling to win those games. Like they weren't pretty wins. They had a couple wins, like I said, like that Alcantara game that they,
I thought the last game against the White Sox was pretty good. I mean, that after I guess it was a getaway day. I remember, being at work and it was like 5-2. They start to hit the ball a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
but nothing really screamed to you. This team's going to be overwhelming. Then they came here, and then they are playing the Rockies,
and that was their get right series.
It seemed to be that way. I mean, they've always played the Rockies well at home. It's when
we go out there,
which is funny because of all the power hitting we've had over the years. That's usually the place to power hit because the air is thin out there. But they were able to take that whole series. Or no, they lost the first game. They were 3 out of 4.
3 out of 4.
3 out of 4. It was like, because tell me you weren't gulping on that 5-0 loss with the first game of the series against the Rockies.
Yeah, I threw my hands up. I was like, "You gotta be kidding!"
Yeah, like
I was like, "Yeah, 5-0," and then the Rockies just got like pounded the day before. I think they played Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh put up like 15 runs on them. I was like, ugh.
Yeah.
It says, can we apply these runs against Valdez and Javier to games 5 and 6? No, you can't because it's a different team. But I mean, if you watch any World Series rematch, if you go back and watch any World Series rematch, it's always the team that loses comes back and plays a better series.
I mean, if you look at Houston, here's another team with almost the same record. Maybe there's a game under us. They have one of their guys. They've had some injury issues to deal with as well. Guys slow to come back. They also went as deep as we did.
Yeah.
So and they were partying afterwards too. Our team was more moping. This team was partying.
They probably partied for another month after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, looking at that, like I feel like maybe he says never panic until 5.
I don't even panic that early.
I don't even panic then, man.
Yeah.
I start panicking like around, like I said, right before the trade deadline is when I start looking to see if they can stay afloat and being there. Like I said, I don't feel like Atlanta's are running away with this division because Atlanta took a couple brutal losses too.
Yeah.
The Mets are who they are.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Mets and Atlanta are currently playing each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and then the one last thing I want to mention was the Seattle Mariners series.
Now, see, Seattle's got a decent team,
and they swept them.
Which
was, I think that was encouraging to me. And
it was, and they went up against three really good pitchers too.
Is there any thought to the?
I thought they lost one to Seattle.
Did they? Hold on one second.
I think they lost one because they didn't. It was them and the Rockies.
Oh yeah, they lost the opening game.
Yeah,
right.
they lost both opening games, but then they took the series.
Yeah,
but like Seattle's got really good young starting pitching.
Yeah.
So
is it just that MO of Philly playing down sometimes?
No, I don't think
they
so.
looked at their schedule after they played the Yankees and said, we're not perfect, but we'll get right.
Well, I think they have that in the back of their mind. You got to remember too. You got to look at AAA. Strom the pen.
Well, Strom will probably be in the pen once when Ranger turns back. But Strom had pitched a hell of a game. Like,
dude, listen, that dude's been money. He has been money. And I'll tell you what, I'm not going to knock Bailey Falter either. Bailey Falter's been pretty good. Like, that kid was our stopper a year ago when all this bad play was going on.
Outside of that one game he pitched in the postseason.
Yeah, he had a bad start in the postseason. But the game was, I chalk that up to nerves. You know what I mean? He's a young kid. I think the Phillies really got something with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Fuge wants to know, will Falter go to the pen or options to AAA? I mean,
I think they're going to keep him in the rotation.
Well,
I don't think
they're not talking about having a
six-man rotation anyway.
Because I think they saw this. Like, at first we thought we've questioned Topper a lot these first 20 some games.
Well, you know what? I think he's smarter. He's a lot smarter than us.
Well, listen, absolutely, he's doing it. But I think he saw the fact that he saw this coming, that Nola and Wheeler and guys were going to struggle and not be 100% yet. I mean, we saw him pull them like, oh, it could have went longer. But Nola and Wheeler in the last two games looked like Nola and Wheeler. I mean, Nola went 8 innings, threw over 100 pitches.
And dominant.
Yeah.
And Zach Wheeler last night.
Yeah.
Dominant.
Now, he threw the same amount of pitches, only went 6 innings, but still went 6 full innings.
And he had 6 or 7 strikeouts last night against that lineup.
And here's the other good part. The bullpen has not dropped off at all.
No, they have gotten better.
Right now, if this team continues at the trajectory they are, it's going to be hard for people to score on us generally.
Yes. Alvarado, does he not look dominant?
Oh, my God, yeah.
Like, the switch in that dude from a year ago is amazing. Like, we thought we had Wild Thing 2.0. Mm-hmm. The dude goes down to the minors, works out his stuff, comes back up, and it's just been money ever since.
Well, that's what they did with the guy that closed out last night. What the heck's his name? Junior Marte. Remember?
Yeah, Marte.
He had a great spring,
and then he got lit up.
I think still he has an 18 ERA because he just came back up.
Yeah.
But last night he was lights out. He shut it all down. The bullpen is not letting anything up. I mean, you're actually feeling comfortable. I mean,
and now you're going to add Strom to that.
You could possibly add Strom. and the point is if you have Strom in there and your guys falter, for lack of better words, have a bad game, or you have an Aaron Nola blow up in the 4th inning again, you're not as super worried if you could put Strom in there because he could go 3 or 4 more innings very easily.
Yeah, well, Strom was going 5, so you figure your starter gets you 4 innings, you can throw Strom in for 4 innings. You know what I mean? You can throw him right in, be like, all right, dude, go ahead.
And by the way, if anybody's looking for the game, it's not going to be at 1:00 this afternoon.
No,
It will be. It's ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, so it's a late game tonight. And as Mike alluded to, and I'll just kind of jump into this real quick before we keep going. We've just had some great coverage over, another great week here at EOP, but the draft coverage has been just spot on.
Yeah, it was really good.
And we'll get into that a little bit later. But Sunday, we got a lineup this Sunday. Of course, right now, PM and the AM. And at 4:00, Mike will be joining me back in studio with Chet from Philly Press Box Radio, James Scorza and Joey Marks from Paz and Av Fanatics, of course, and myself to do kind of a draft wrap up show just to talk about the Eagles draft, grades, how overall they're looking. We know James is happy. The more Bulldogs, the happier James Scorza is.
Oh, well, then he's doing backflips.
Yeah, right now. And all across all the time, of course, at the normal time. And
yeah,
then,
you can see my partner who's not here today. He'll probably be home in time to be on that show and give his report from Rochester.
And also, you can go to EOPsports.com. His article is up.
Okay. So there you go.
And the fighting finals for this last Astros game will be probably right along after that.
Yeah, I gotta give Matty B a call.
Yeah. But
9:00 and then coming back at 4. Yeah, like I'm not making it.
Let's see. Juan can look like a Cy Young one day and Joe Crowley the next day.
Well, that's Taiwan. That's Walker. Friends of mine who are Mets fans, when we signed him, first thing they told me was, they said he's inconsistent. They said, but the one thing they said, as the season goes, they said you're not going to like him early on. They said early in the season he's horrible, but as the season goes, he becomes an innings eater. And she said, well, they told me, you can get 4 good starts out of him, and then he'll do 2 clunkers. They said he really turns around. Like the Mets were they wanted to keep Walker, and he was one of the guys that kind of stabilized them a year ago when DeGrom went down and then Scherzer went down. He was one of the settling guys up there. So they were looking for him to maybe come back. But when the Phillies snatched him up, I thought it was a good signing. He's a good number 3.
Yeah.
Or maybe I should say number 4, really, because once Ranger comes back, he's going to number 3.
And again, I think they knew that they were going to their idea was to have Strom in the pen anyway. And I think he was that safety release. Like if Taiwan gets just
what's up with these lefties with all long hair?
I don't give a crap what has to be done. Just keep winning. Winning Phillies baseball makes me a happy man.
Bohm looked good yesterday too.
Well, let's talk about this. You're talking. Let's look at a couple of the different players. Bohm has been consistent from
Castellanos.
Castellanos. I don't want to. I kept saying this. I don't want to say I told you so, but I kept telling everybody chillax on Castellanos.
Yeah, me too. Me and you were the one. It was my partner that kept saying, "Oh well." I said, "Yo, wait till this dude gets comfortable in the system, dude. Like you are going to fall in love with him." And Pat's been coming on every week, going, "Dude, you're right." And I love making him do that because I love Pat, but sometimes I got to educate the youngster.
Pat's panicky. I mean, panicky Pat.
Yes.
But that's Philly. He's a Philly fan, and that's what you get from it. So, I mean, Stott's been captain consistency. I mean, he broke Puddinghead Jones's record.
That's a great name.
Yeah, I'll have to tell you a story at the end of the show about that. But Stott, he's batting a 322. He didn't really do anything last night, but overall, he's still going up to bat, even though he's not getting hits last night.
Contact,
but his at bats were quality, and he was eating up pitches. And he's getting guys, and he's keeping them off balance. So that's
stop and think about it. He was our eighth hole hitter last year. Now he's like leadoff. Like, which in a way, I think him becoming the leadoff hitter, that's going to take a lot more pressure off of Turner. It's going to make the top of that
lineup
also
really
has
good. Not been great lately.
Nah, he's cooled off a bit, but you called that. You said he was so hot during that World Baseball Classic.
Yeah.
That he had to come down.
Every time he kept doing it, I'm like, yeah, it's awesome.
Everybody's like, yeah, Turner. Me and you were like, oh, dude, he's going to suck.
Well, I kept telling these guys, I was like, you have to remember, a lot of these teams that they're going up against, outside of Japan, of course.
And some like the South American teams have had major leaguers on it. But, I mean, like.
You're going up against guys who wouldn't play in the MLB.
No, they'd be playing AAA, maybe AA.
Schwarber continues to be Schwarber, batting at 206.
He's heating up though.
But we're watching the calendar. It turns May tomorrow, so so we have 31 days of to buckle in.
Yeah, but he's got like what 4 or 5 homers, right? 5,
4, 5. Yeah,
he's got 5 homers in the first month. So he puts another 5 together this month. That's 10 home runs going into June. Look out.
JT's definitely getting his consistency back.
Yeah, I started knowing he was the one guy in the lineup that I was starting to worry about because JT, he's on when he's hitting doubles. When he's hitting them in the gaps, he's on. When he starts pulling the ball, and not going with the pitch, and you see he's pulling off everything, that's when he starts his struggles. So it was nice to see because he had a nice double. I believe it was Friday night. He had a nice double, and I was like, okay, dude. Now you see he's starting to get his rhythm back too. But getting back to some, I'm liking our bench too. Some of these guys on the bench.
Well, I was about to touch on that. I said Cody Clemens had a 2-run bomb last night.
His power.
His dad was in the stand, so he got to do it in front of the family.
That's awesome.
Jake Cave was also, what was he?
3 for 4 yesterday.
Yeah, 3 for 4.
I saw his RBI. He knocked in. I think it was in the 8th inning. He smoked the ball right up the middle.
Yeah, I mean they just started tacking on at that point. Marsh is a guy who's
he's another
not
one.
getting enough love. He's batting a 341 still.
Yes.
I mean, at this point,
Captain Caveman's hitting, bro.
At 25 to 30 is when the ERAs look normal. Because you got people with 400 ERAs in the first 20 games because they're coming out hot, even over 500 at times. And you're like, all right, yeah, you're batting a 400 right now in this stretch of things. Well, let's see what happens when your overall batting average is in May, June. Then everybody's back down to the mid twos and above. But Brandon Marsh batting a 341, being consistent, this just goes to show you, like we with the Eagles, we talk about
being consistent.
Not even just that, but like how important certain coaches are. And Stoutland, like how important he is. Like I said, you pay him whatever he needs to stay. Well, Justin Long is falling into that category for the Phillies. Like
he's working. Look at Christian Pache. When he got here, that dude looked like he couldn't swim.
Oh, I was over him fast.
But you got to give it to him. The kid's really starting to straighten his swing out. He's actually starting to get in there. He said, and Pache, yeah,
he's astonished at Cave, Clemens, and Pache. It can only be one thing, Kalo. Yeah, don't let this guy go. I'm like,
I don't think they will. He signed on for a few years, right?
Well, I think it works like football. The only way they can leave is if they get a better job offer.
Right.
So that means he would either be like a manager or something. Like that could happen. Somebody could offer him a manager's job, and the way he has bring guys along. And when they brought Marsh in, that was the thing. Is like Marsh has kind of like what Pache has been for us. And now his batting wasn't as bad because Pache was a top prospect at one point.
Yeah, for the Braves.
The Braves, and then he was like, I know we got him from the A's. Ultimately.
Well, he was a part of a trade with the A's, so he went over there, and then
that's when they brought in. Who was the guy they brought in?
Was it Murphy? I think
from Atlanta. I forget who their
Murphy. I think it was the Murphy.
Yeah.
So they brought him in, but to me, I wasn't a big fan of Pache, but I've seen his improvement. Like now, he was hitting the ball really good. Now I think he got hurt yesterday.
Not yesterday. He's been hurt for a day or two now.
Yeah.
But that sucks because here's a guy who has been.
He's got another one. That's another. You say you put him in 9. He usually hits in the 9 hole, right? You got him, Stott, and Turner. You got 3 burners on the base pads before we start getting to our boppers in the lineup. And I mean, even Turner's a bopper, really. So I mean, the Phillies.
But even Brandon Marsh, like, look at what he has. Like last year, you're like, you bring him in for defense. That's what they brought him in for, to up their defense. They brought him in knowing that, maybe we get like a 225, 250 at best with him. I mean, I think it was Charlie Manuel who said he looked at me because this kid will give him some time to work with Justin Long and stuff like that. But real quick, guys, I want to bring up, speaking of baseball, speaking of Phillies greats, Philadelphia Sports Day is coming back May 13th from 1 to 8 at 24 East Sellers Avenue, Ridley Park at Dolan's Bar. Me and Mike have been there a bunch of times, ate there. We always tell you how much fun and whoever can. You never know who's going to walk in the door. Well, I know on May 13th, at least a few guys, and I'm being told it could be more. Hollis will be back. Philly sports guy, which you probably see him 1,000 times when watching the draft
Yes, he was
over
all
the
over the
weekend.
place.
Mickey Morandini, who has graced his Dolans with his presence a few times for Wiffle Ball Madness. But Charlie Manuel, Chuck himself, is coming to Delco, coming to Dolan's Bar. So you get a chance, a very intimate setting, to come in, hang out, and be with all these Philly greats, play wiffle ball with them, as well as raise money for the Eagles Autism fundraiser. And like I said, there could be more added to the roster coming up. So go to Dolan's
I think
Bar.
I was talking to the wife about that. I said, "Yeah, that Saturday we're probably going to do it there."
Yeah, my wife, I'm telling you, like the last few years, I I brought my kids up to get.
Well, I ain't got to worry about that. My
Yeah,
my kids live in Louisiana. My grandsons are down in Louisiana. So
yeah,
when they come up here, I'll show them around. But
yeah.
when
But I mean,
while they're down
I've
there,
taken them to the Wiffle Ball Madness, and Mickey Morandini and Tommy Green and all those guys to sign their shirts and gave them batting gloves. My kids were in heaven. They thought it was amazing.
yeah, I got a quick little story about Mickey Morandini. Um, we did a thing with Damon Feldman for celebrity boxing,
Oh yeah,
and
I think everybody in Delco could say this at one point.
well, my background as a wrestler, so Damon employed. There was a guy named Chuck. He's a big time Eagles fan. He's got his whole back tattooed. It's all Eagles.
Hmm.
Uh, older guy, really nice guy. Well, they were looking for somebody big because Chuck is a pretty big dude. Well, my former tag team partner Bill was looking at Bill's like, I'll box him, like
Yeah.
So it's so funny. We go to do this right, and my buddy Bill goes to meet Chuck. Well, Chuck's probably about 6'2". Billy's about 6'7". So Chuck just looks up at him and goes, "Oh God." He goes, he's like looking at Billy, like, "Oh, this is going to be bad." My buddy just winks at him and goes, "I got you, kid." And like that. So my buddy puts a hood on, like a Rey Mysterio mask, but it was like a Giants mask.
Uh huh.
And I had to be his manager. So my kid, who's a Giants fan, I said, "Give me your hat. I got to borrow that." And I said, "I know it's going to burn my head putting this shit on, but
Hmm.
it was a Giant Super Bowl hat." So
Oh
of
wow.
course I had to put it on, and
We gotta find that picture.
oh, it's on Facebook.
Okay.
It's got me yelling at somebody. I Bort coming out. I was his manager, so of course I had to get the crowd. It was right at Harris, so he had to go and box him. And like, yeah, my buddy was literally called the New York Giant because he was 6'7", and he like towered over him.
Mhm.
And my buddy's like, "All right, guy." He's like, "Give me the shot so I can go down." He gave him the shot, and put the guy over. But it was pretty funny. It was like one and only time I got home. I threw the hat at my son, and he goes, "What are you throwing the hat at me for?" I said, "Man, my head's itching,
Yeah, it's
Mickey."
itchy now. I don't want
But
to.
Mickey Morandini, getting back to the story,
Yeah.
Mickey Morandini was a special guest referee.
Oh, was he?
Yeah, so I was in his butt the whole time yelling at him on the outside. And he's just looking at me. We get in the back. He goes, "Yo, man," he goes, "you guys
Yeah,
are
that's cool.
good."
Mickey's a good dude.
Oh, he's great, man.
He's so down to earth. Marsh is trending to the offensive player of the month for the NL. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
he
I would
is.
I'd say so.
He's leading a lot of categories. Dave Yarnold's joining the chat. Pache, not much of a hitter, but kid is fast in the outfield. He tracks down his balls very well, and that's been kind of his mo, Dave. But the fact that we're seeing him be a little bit consistent at the plate, I mean,
He's been more consistent.
I mean, Kevin Long is kind of like the Terminator. Like he sees it. He's got like Terminator vision. Like he's looking at you and like he's seeing when you're swinging what you're doing wrong, and he helps correct
Yeah,
it.
like
Like
he's able to correct it. Like, I'm sorry, like he wasn't it reminds me of Tyler Goodell. But if Kiddo straightens the guy out, he can work
I
out.
think he's talking about Pache in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like I said, that was his big knock. Like they said he couldn't hit a lick,
Mhm.
but since he's gotten here, I've seen improvement
Yeah.
over Pache and swinging the bat. So,
I mean,
but are you psyched about tonight's game?
yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely. I mean, how you not? A
The
possible sweep.
sweep of the Braves.
Uh,
I mean, of
uh,
the Astros. I
yeah.
mean,
I mean, apparently, when I think the first game they were walking around kind of waving their World Series rings, and even Nicky Bats, he took some sort of he took away today. He didn't enjoy that too much. Which who what? I mean, you're being a Jo at that point.
yeah, pretty
Um,
much. I mean, okay, yeah, you beat us last year in the World Series, but I mean, I was very proud of that team that went there a year ago because if you look at it, the Astros steamrolled through the whole American League. They didn't lose a game.
they
They
lose a
didn't lose a
game.
game until they saw the Phillies.
Yeah,
So, okay, yeah, you took 4, but if you matched up those rosters, their roster last year was head and shoulders better than the Phillies
yeah.
roster was a year ago.
Well, I want to point something out. So say we get Harper back, even Harper at 80% in the
Mhm.
next coming weeks, right? Um, let's look at this lineup real quick. You got Stott, Turner, Schwarber, Castellanos, Marsh, Realmuto, Bohm. Who's is there any other real starter missing there? I'm trying to think. Nah, that's about it, right?
Mhm.
And then you have Cave and Clemens. So
Cave and Clemens won't be playing.
no, well, no, absolutely not. Left Cave will probably be, or one of those
Well,
two.
one of those two will be playing. Like the other one will be the DH spot. That's where Harper will get it.
Yeah. So, but that's what I'm thinking. Like, just look how well they're hitting now. I mean, if you were to put, so I'm guessing, I don't know. I mean, I guess you would slide Harper into that 3 spot. That's where, if you just look at last night's lineup,
I would do Harper 3, Castellanos 4.
so Stott, Turner, Harper.
Start. Yeah, right. Castellano 4 because he's your best hitter right now, and he's been playing batting at
Schwarber at 5.
Schwarber at 5.
I think that would be huge for him.
Schwarber at 5, JT at 6, and then you have Bohm at 7, and then you have the 2 other guys right behind
Marsh.
him.
Marsh.
Well,
Do you keep Marsh higher up in the lineup?
no,
then?
because you know what? I would drop him down when Harper comes back because
I'm
now
not saying drop him down. I'm saying like, so right now Marsh is hitting in the 5 hole behind Castellanos, right?
right.
So if you put him in there, you're moving Schwarber to the 5 hole. At this point, I think I leave Marsh above Romuto on a normal day, depending on the pitching matchup. And boom, I mean, if you think about it, you're going all the way to your 8th hitter with guys batting well. Like, I
See,
mean,
this is where me and you differ. I would drop it. I would drop him down. I would drop Marsh down because yes, Marsh is hitting, but that's going to help you turn your lineup over. You know what I'm saying? Because whoever you're getting out of that 9 spot, you know.
yeah. Dave Yarno back in says, it was a bummer I couldn't watch Friday's game because it was on Apple TV. Best game Nola pitched this young season. You know what? It's funny, Dave.
Not a lot of people have Apple TV. Just go online and type in streaming, and
yeah,
you'll find.
If you have an Apple product, by the way, just so you guys know, I do. And if you haven't used it yet, you get a week's free trial. So you could have just signed up for it. I think they're only doing 2 games this season on Apple, so that was one of them.
Yeah.
So you do a week's free trial, and if it's worth it to you, you just buy it for the month and then cancel it. It's only $6 or $7 a month.
Yeah.
So just cancel it and pay your $7 to watch. I mean, it sucks. I get it, and I've heard a lot of people on WIP and 97.5 and talking to people myself who complain like, and a lot of times it's older guys. You were hearing like not much on the streaming thing, or people like I refuse to pay $6 to watch it on TV.
But they all hold on. But these are the same people that were paying, $20 a month to have Prism.
Yeah.
No, you know what I'm saying? Like so you were paying to watch them on TV.
You know, and there was I remember I was driving home because that was on Thursday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I was driving home from doing draft coverage. I was working the draft coverage that night. And there were, I think I was listening to WIP and some older guy, definitely in his like, I think he even said I'm going to be turning 80 tomorrow or something like that. He mentioned that. He's like, towards the end of the game, Apple TV kept freezing every couple minutes, and then I lose it, and then I didn't get to watch the 9th. I didn't know they won until I turned on WIP. And I'm like, hey, you ever guys think, I mean, unfortunately, it's your internet. I watched it here. I had another iPad. I was sitting right where you're sitting, Mike. And I had another iPad, and I had it on mute, but I was keeping my eye on the game. I was flashing up the scores just to piss off Shane Half. He was having a good time with it.
Shane,
huh?
Which Shane different?
Shane Half.
Yeah, he's not a Phillies fan.
No, it's just that he's like, it's all draft tonight. And he was like, kind of like, he was being funny about it. I said, okay. And I would put little things up. According to Shane Half, NFL draft coverage only tonight on EOP.
Wow.
No, he was just, it was.
I was going back and forth between you guys' coverage and over the other one.
Yeah.
So,
but my thing is, the guy was, I'm like, dude, that's your internet. That's not. But I get it's a change. I wonder what people thought when Prism came out. Like I said, I remember it, but I don't remember.
I
didn't have a father who was huge into sports, so I didn't hear him like, I pay $20 a month for Prism to watch the Flyers.
My brother, when he moved into like his first, like, I was young. My brother's a lot older than me, but it was, he was sitting probably. He's like, yeah, he goes, comes with cable, and we get Prism. Like that was the biggest thing. Like me and my brother would sit down and watch games. I remember, when he was talking to his dad about it. One time we were over his dad's house or whatever, and his dad's like, I'm not paying. to watch home games. I can just read about it in the paper the next day. Like
Yeah.
it's a different time.
Yeah.
You know what I
I
mean?
mean, listen, it's just you're so used to putting on your TV, putting on NBC Sports, which you were paying for, by the way,
Yes.
to have on your cable.
Yeah, there is no more games on 17. Like I remember
Yeah.
remember
You
all
can't get the rabbit ears out, guys, and watch a game. Sorry.
I mean, I'm a few years older than you.
KHL 17, I remember that.
17 used to carry 82 games.
Mm-hmm.
You got all the road games.
That was
if
before
the Phillies hit the road.
That was before. Well, I mean, NBC Sports, which was Philly Sports,
Channel.
which was what was it before that?
Philly Sports Channel.
Was it called Philly Sports Channel?
Yeah, there were sports channels all around the country that were linked up. And I remember when it was like Sports Channel Philadelphia. I remember when we finally got that here. It felt like they only had it for about maybe. It came in the early '90s. I remember that we had I think we had it for like 2 years, and then all of us, like I want to say 3 maybe, and then became Comcast Sports, Comcast channel.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know about you, but I mean, I had Comcast as a kid. Do you remember the ticker the sports ticker that used to come up?
Yeah.
And it would give you would get scores like you would get single A, double A, triple A, Major League Baseball and football season. It would
Well, back in the day, going to minor league games was around here was a thing.
Yeah.
I mean, they were closer. You can go to Camden, you can go to Wilmington.
I've never been to Wilmington
Lehigh.
Stadium. I want to go there. I told
Blue
my wife.
Rocks.
I said I want to
I
go
heard
down.
you can rent the Blue Rock Stadium for like $2,500.
Wow.
Which, if you think about it, is like nothing.
No. We should do an EOP night down there. Just go down for the game.
I do that. I do it in a heartbeat. Now they are a Kansas City affiliate, I believe.
So what?
I believe they are.
No.
Or did they get bought? They were.
They were when they first went there. I think they're the Yankees now.
Is it the Yankees?
Yeah,
okay.
they
change. They trade. They trade them out. Like they buy them out.
Yeah, they're like okay, like they like I don't know. It's always been a weird thing with me because what was it? The Orioles. They have a team in Havre de Grace, Maryland.
Yeah.
Right there. They were the Orioles for like ever.
Yeah.
And then now there's somebody else. I think they might be the Senators now.
Possibly.
Or, yeah. Nationals. I mean,
yeah, Nationals. I know you meant.
Yeah, don't
Your
mind
age was showing, but I know what you mean.
No, I just had a long night.
But
I was blue oystering, as Pat would say.
Philly, Steve said a healthy Phillies lineup can rival 2008 if Stott increases his power.
I think this team's going to blow that out.
I don't think Stott has to increase his power. If Stott just stays consistently on the path that he's at, I'm okay with that.
If you look at that, like a lot of people, I know they go back to that because it's a world champion team.
You have to look at it.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of ups and downs in that season.
But
it was a lot. There was a lot of comparison between 2008 and last year's team because they had ups and downs. They didn't have to fire their manager, but you had a starting pitcher who had to go down to the minors to get it right in Brett Myers.
Yeah, I remember
You had bats that struggled. You had a team that you kind of just squeaked your way in at the end. Who some people at that time didn't think the Phillies were going to make the postseason after making it in 2007. So yeah.
2007, I thought was a really interesting year for the Phillies, but like people they always bring up.
No, Dave. I mean, I can't say no, and I think Steve answered the question for me.
Does anybody trade the paper?
If you're over 65 or 70, maybe.
I know a guy a few years older than me. Every morning gets paper. But it's just so drawn out now because everything's forced.
I mean, listen, you go see people at the games who are keeping score the old-fashioned way.
I love that.
Like,
but you look at the guys that are keeping score now; they're our elders, man.
Yeah,
and it's like okay, I'm not surprised about that.
I'm not saying I'm not surprised. I'm surprised. I mean, you're always surprised when the Pirates do well.
I'm not because
the last time the Pirates did well?
They made the playoffs. When the hell was it? It was not in recent memory. It was within the last 10 years.
I'm saying, in the last 20 years, how many times have they done well?
Well, no.
Exactly.
But I'm glad. I am so happy for the Buccos. I really am. I mean, that stadium's beautiful, which, by the way, I will be going out there.
Yeah, I'm going to head out there this year.
Are you doing this? Like I said, I'm still debating. Are you driving out or are you just doing the whole bus trip thing?
I haven't decided totally because if we do any broadcasting from there, I would have to drive out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Driving
out's not that bad.
I actually love flying out. Now they have all these different flights to go out there.
What's it? A 10-minute flight?
45 minutes. It's great. It's either 6 hour or 8 hour drive or
it's not an 8 hour drive,
6 hours or whatever.
Not even, dude. It's like 5.5.
But still, 45 minutes. I used to go. I was telling people when I used to go a lot when I was younger and single, and I didn't have any kids or anything. I was like 21, maybe. I called my buddy up. Southwest was just like becoming a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was around, but like they started advertising cheap, quick flights, like one-way flights.
Mm-hmm.
They had from Philadelphia to Pittsburgh for like under $100, like $50,
Mm-hmm.
$60, and you're like, okay, so for $120, I can fly out, stay at some like okay hotel. I was 21 years old. I wasn't looking for 5 stars.
Mm-hmm.
Catch a couple Phillies games for next to nothing. And by the way, PNC Park's a really nice park.
I've never been there.
Yeah,
I've been
it's a
outside
nice
of there,
park.
never been there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy for the Buccos. You know what I mean? Because that's a team like they're a team that if they start doing well, I would like not root. I mean, I'm a Phillies fan, but I look at it from afar, like, hey man, good for them.
Well, it's because they're that little brother who always struggled for a while. Then they do
Yeah.
well. You're gonna feel it. I mean, look at the Tampa Bay Rays. Like they're 23-5 now. Okay, so they're but I said like look. Let's talk about them after the All Star break.
See, that's how I'm feeling about the Pirates because
It's kind of funny.
Sooner or later, like Milwaukee's coming.
It literally looks like the AL East is upside down in the standings. Because in first place you have the Rays at 23-5. 4.5 games behind them, you have the Orioles,
Mm-hmm.
and they're tied with the Blue Jays with the same record of 18-9. The Yankees are 15-13, who made us look bad, but then they're the same exact record we're at right now. Who are 8 games, and this is what I'm saying. This is the difference between having a team that's running. Like if we had a team like the Rays, who are just like say the Mets or the Braves or any of the other teams, which just started off so hot, we would have to be looking up at. We'd be looking up right now, 8 games, ahead of us, and then the Sox are 14-14, just hitting 500. So I mean, yeah, it's
Well, that division last year weren't all the teams in that division over 500 last year.
yes.
So I mean, that's a really good competitive division. Um, I mean, Baltimore. I mean, you kind of figured Baltimore was going to get better. I mean, they were playing. Like, believe it or not, Kyle Gibson's actually pitching pretty good for them.
Yeah,
Down there, you go figure. Like up here,
I figured.
he could catch a cold, but he goes back down there. I always thought he was an American League pitcher anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like some people just pitch well in the other league,
And the
but
Nationals are bad. They still haven't hit double digits yet in wins column.
eh,
They're bad.
well, they got rid of a lot of people too. So I mean, between them and the White Sox.
Between the Rockies and them, I'm trying to see, is there any other team?
The
Oh,
White
I'm sorry,
Sox.
the Royals and the Sox, White Sox.
Dude, that's a
And
team that
the
kills me.
Athletics. The Athletics, they're a bad team.
They are.
And you know what? They're down in the dumps right now. Let me ask this question because I don't want to thrive on it too much. I'm happy for CT. Who's CT? I don't know who that is.
Connecticut.
I'm happy for Kutch.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Well, that was awesome. Did you see his first at bat back
No.
when they had their home opener?
Mm-mm.
Now he started his career with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
So he signed a 1-year deal to come back and play this year. Dude, he walked out. He walked out there. They gave him such an ovation.
Oh man, he's just that guy. I mean, he was only here for a while, but he'll be that guy to us. You know, I mean, he was only here for a couple of years. Selling scorecards and publications for the Phillies, you'd be surprised some young people keep score. That's right, Fuji does do that. I forgot that.
He's one of them guys that go around yelling program.
He's at the stadium, yeah. So
awesome.
Yeah, I do see that. It's like I'd do it if I could. When I go to the games, I can't. I have a beer in my hand, a pretzel in the other hand, and kids usually.
And Pat's with us,
Yeah.
Pat's usually got 3 hot dogs, and then
And that's before we even walk in the stadium.
yeah.
So and Fuji PNC Park is beautiful. It is pretty cool.
Listen, this is something. I think there's one Dour Dog Night left.
Oh no, there's a bunch.
Oh, there is.
I
think later on in the year, right? We have to do it. But when we go, between me, you, and everybody that's listening,
No, we talked about this. We were gonna go see if any EOP guys go. I want a
we
scorecard.
gotta videotape him.
Well, I want a scorecard with two number counts on it that we can update. EOP
and Pat Bernard,
and then Pat Bernard, and then
dude, I'm telling you,
and then have like maybe another number underneath that shows what percentage of EOP is Pat Bernard's hot dogs.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, Dour Dog Night, probably watching him is probably going to be priceless. It's probably going to be priceless.
Let's see. I'm trying to see if it tells you. Like, it doesn't always say, "Oh, Dollar Dog Night."
Right. I know they have one coming
up. The
up.
next one's May 9th against Blue Jays at 6:40 at Citizens. That's a Tuesday.
Oh, never mind. Well, Tuesdays.
It depends for me.
Yeah, I would love them to do a Dour Dog Night on a Saturday afternoon. That would be great.
They're not. No, they don't do. they don't do dollar dog nights on weekend. It's only during the week because they want you to come in.
Yeah.
To the
I would do it though. I mean, I know the one. Like I said, I knew the one was against
I
Seattle.
think they have one in the summertime, or no, it's in September. I think they don't do too much during the summer. I think it's like April, May, and then they do September, maybe October, if I remember.
Like I said, they didn't do any after May last year.
Yeah,
They only had 3. That's why I was wondering. But yeah, that should be. We should look into going to that Blue Jays game. I think that would be hysterical.
I'm trying. I just want to see if they give me.
But
yeah,
well, we've been talking a lot about this Phillies team.
Yeah, I guess we real quick before we transition.
Yes.
To the Sixers, because it's becoming criminal actually.
Yes.
Dealing with what we're about to talk about. But David Archerry is your man for any workers' compensation, motor vehicle accidents, personal injury, and criminal law. Call Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300, cherryinjurylaw.com. Call that number again at 610-565-0300. Tell Dave Cherry that EOP sent you, and he will fight for your rights. But it might be a hard fight for him, even Dave Cherry.
Yeah, now we get to move on to this.
The Sixers are just. It's just it's like we're snake bitten. All right. One thing I said going into this playoffs, hey, these guys stay healthy. There's a real good chance for these Sixers. Like they have good of anybody as a chance as anybody to make a splash. I mean, if you look at it, the West, isn't anything to write home about.
Yeah, whoever wins the East is winning the title.
The Bucks are gone already. Against Jimmy Butler is just playing out of his mind. And again, I said the 3 worst things during this process that the Sixers have done. I would say Jimmy Butler was the worst, not re-signing him because they were trying to fight over 1 year, from what I understand. Not signing Bridges, which we saw a little bit of already, and then the whole Jason Tatum, Fultz trading up with the Celtics, giving up draft capital to go get Fultz for nothing.
When he would have fell to you right there.
And it's funny, like, how does that not telegraph you? I'm not going to get into this conversation too much, but how does that not telegraph you that the Celtics, if there's a blue chipper who's supposed to be the next best thing of whatever in Fultz, and you're willing, and you think a team's willing to give up just not a couple. I mean, I know we give them out a lot, but draft capital, and they're willing to do it. Doesn't that tell you that they were never willing to do it?
Mm-hmm.
Yet they did it. We won't get into that. Now, those are the three things. I would say, and it burns us. It will burn us to keep us where we're at. And so the Sixers came out, and of course, thank God, for many reasons, they swept the Nets. It has given time for Joel to rest. Maybe, apparently, not enough. And there wasn't any overlap with the draft.
Dude,
it was perfect.
I called this, bro. Like
listen, everybody
called it. Everybody called it because you just know this round someone's going to get hurt on him. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm done. I'm done with this Sixers team. I really am. Because the more you stay the same, the more you try to change, the more you stay the same. Do I think I think they're going to win 1 game in this series. Why? Because they've always shown me that they can win a game out of 4 against Boston.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's before the health issues with Joel Embiid. When you play the Celtics, they always seem to be that thorn in our side.
Like, I was listening to the guys yesterday, dude. You know, see, they can steal a game against Boston, but they're not being. I'm sorry, they're not. Boston's better. They got a better coaching staff. They got a better bench. They got a better team than the Sixers, and it's obvious.
They've always had better. The bench has always been night and day difference. This year is the first year it's closer.
It is.
It is.
But I mean, the Sixers closed the gap, but it's
now,
not.
You know, but the fact that they're saying now they think it's worse than an LCL sprain. So what is it? And that's my thing. That's the worst, hard to gauge. Is it just something that he would have to fight through some pain? And to me, that's the fortitudo issue with Embiid, or is this something else?
I can see. You know what I can see him doing? I can see him missing the first 2 games up in Boston and then coming home and playing the home games.
Yeah,
I can definitely see him doing that. But
what do we do when we're down 2? If we're down 2-0 in the game,
and he's going to be minimal at best. Now that he's hurt, the guy who's the whole key for this is Harden.
Yeah.
Harden's supposed to be your. And what's he doing?
And
This dude's out partying in Vegas.
Yeah.
And he wants a max contract. Dude, I'd let his ass walk. At the end of this year, let him walk.
Outside of a deep Eastern Conference run or a championship.
Yeah. Listen, the Sixers for him.
Well, listen, here's my thing is let me back this up for a second. I've got a kind of conflicting thoughts in my head about the whole. For those who don't know what we're talking about, is TMZ caught James Harden in Vegas arguing with what seemed to be part of his group, slapped the dude in the face, but apparently by the end of the night they were back in hanging out, and everything was fine. So maybe he was just getting his guy right. Maybe his guy was getting out of line, maybe a little handsy with some of the ladies. God only knows, what went down. It's just the fact that this is ammunition. Okay. This is ammunition if he doesn't show up, if his legs get tired, if he's just not on his game. Well, if you weren't out in Vegas and you didn't think your time, you just couldn't go to one of the strip joints at home here in Philly and just not go out with your crew and get all messed up in Vegas, that's all you're going to hear. If he doesn't have a good game to people's standards, that's all you're going to hear. And all he did was give fans, you, me, and everybody else ammunition to.
I don't know. To me, I just don't get the thinking.
I don't get it either.
I don't get it.
I'm not sitting there saying be a choir boy.
I'm not saying you got to stay in your house, and I understand he had some time. The team had time off. They earned that right to get a couple days off. But dude, you got to be smart. You're 33 years old.
Yeah, and that's the thing is.
What was that Dave said?
Dave said there's been times that he played better without the big man in the lineup. I just don't think this is one of those times. Yeah, I think what Steve was trying to say is they can maybe steal a game or two without him. Not the first two. They're not going to do two in a row and somehow come back to Philly 2-0 without Embiid.
Yeah, Harden would have to go off.
They could steal a game and come back 1-1.
Yeah, they could come back 1-1. I'm not saying. Listen, I got the Celtics winning the series 4-1. And the reason I got them winning 4-1 is because they only beat them one time. And the one time they beat them,
Embiid had 50 some odd points.
Embiid had half the points. Jaylen Brown and their starting center didn't play. Yeah. Now, I'm not going to say the Sixers played them tough the two previous games. Opening night was opening night. That was just jitters. They weren't. Look, they threw the ball around a lot.
And the other thing is, think about it. The last time any Sixers played any basketball was
a week ago.
8 days.
8 days.
8 days ago.
So they're going to be rusty.
So tomorrow they're playing. So they're going to go almost 9 days without playing. I'm not worried about rust. Actually, it's good for them to rest. And Boston has only had what? We only have about 3 days.
The only thing I think that can keep the Sixers in this series, and Frank, somebody from the show yesterday morning, they brought up the Celtics perimeter defense. It's been lacking. Trae Young was able to hit threes at will. I can see if the Sixers can get somebody to start hitting threes, Harden, you got to hit your threes, James. It's just that simple. Okay. The one matchup that I like, that I favor the Sixers in, believe it or not, is I love Tobias Harris with him going to be sticking Tatum. Tobias Harris on Tatum, but
if he's playing the way he keeps playing,
right,
that could be an X factor difference.
True. I think Toby's been their best player so far in this postseason, besides Embiid. I mean, Embiid's
he's kind of taking that. I want to call it leadership role, but yeah, I can simply say a leadership role in this situation.
But I just don't see them pulling this one out, and especially with Embiid being banged up. You know what I mean? They're literally going to let Embiid score. Embiid's going to get his points. There's got to be other people that's going to step up. And I'm sorry, I like Tyrese Maxey, but he disappears. He sees that green Celtics uniform, and he disappears.
By the way, I just saw Adam Schefter tweeted. I know we're not on it, but May 11th is what they're reaching for to release the schedule for the NFL.
May 11th.
So I just wanted to announce that live on the air. But,
nice. So that we can go plan our trips.
Yeah, that's right. Let's run through these real quick. Steve said, I guess it's Dame time. That'd be interesting.
It'd be awesome, but does Dame want to leave Portland? You remember
some people are okay with not. Maybe after this year, he's just like, all right, this team is going nowhere, and they're not doing the right moves. and I want to win now. And if they clear space with, you know, depending on how things fall, how the chips fall, and they have the space for it, why not?
Sixers ain't got no draft picks, man.
Sean Kilrain's checking in. What's up, Mike and Al? You often question the toughness of Embiid. I miss the days of the Sixers, Detroit bad boys, that back in the day rivalries. Agree. Listen, and Sean, I get that. It is listen. It's a much different thing, and it's Embiid. I wouldn't say I'm questioning Embiid's toughness.
I am. Dude gets hurt every year. Every year.
Yeah,
I'm not.
A lot of those injuries are freak things. Like this one,
dude, he
okay,
broke his
whatever.
face twice.
I know. That's what I'm saying. That
No,
doesn't
I'm
happen.
sorry. Listen.
And by the way, 2 different orbitals. It wasn't the same orbital.
Right. And so, I mean, listen, if you're getting banged up like that, you need to go see something. You got to go get a new rabbit's foot, something. Go get your soul cleansed because that means you got a cloud over your head. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. And I'm not questioning his toughness. I mean, dude, you hit in the eye and you break your orbital bone. Well, that's painful.
That's what I'm saying. Him playing through the pain is one thing. That's why I'm saying I'm not questioning his toughness. But you don't think he's thinking that, like, again? Seriously? Like, look up in the air. Maybe I need to go to church more often, or maybe I don't know what it is. Like, why? Why does it every time I get here? Is it the Philly curse? Is it me? That every time I get to the bar, and this is the first time we went into the playoffs. We went in the playoffs with him healthy.
Yes. And he gets banged up. The problem is he gets banged up. But then again, let's go. It's Maxey's logo 3 times for now.
I don't know what that means.
I have no idea either. Steve, you have to be a little more specific on that one, bud. But
I don't know if he maybe
Maxey's time. Let's go.
It's Maxey's. Yeah, maybe. I know these days are gone now. It's watch it now, dribble, shoot threes, absolutely no defensive play. And here's my thing:
they don't. You know who plays defense?
Do you blame that case what he just said on just how they've changed the rules to protect the superstars?
Oh, most definitely.
I mean, because it's like playing defense in the NFL. If you said, "Al, pick a position in the NFL to be a stud at and be in the NFL," I mean, of course, everybody would say quarterback because you make the most money. But if it wasn't a money thing, it would be anywhere on offense. I would never want to play defense.
No, because you can't do nothing on defense anymore.
You always get called for something.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, like being at first, I'd be like, okay, maybe I'll be defensive tackle or an edge rusher and just go sack the quarterback.
Right.
But now, you get called for every little thing because he threw the ball left his hands a half a second. You're able to stop it. You should be able to stop in midair.
Some of these calls that these guys get too, like it's just bad.
Or it's Brogdon in my guy.
I don't know.
And Steve says Melton. Who I was going to say Melton. Even Jalen McDaniels.
I think he could he can be a surprising piece for the Sixers. I think he can help them. Like I said, I just don't think it's going to be. Both orbitals were a freak. I was at the Fultz, elbowed him, hustle play.
Yeah,
injury, hustle play.
I mean, that's the other thing. Is like the thing that hurts him, to be honest with you, is all the thing that we all praise him for, though. That's the thing we have to understand. It's kind of like,
you gotta be smart, though. You gotta be smart.
You know what you should do, Mike, and this goes to back to your knowledge, is he should go to a wrestling school and learn how to take a bump.
Yeah, learn how to fall.
Yeah.
Like if he starts learning, like I'm not going to lie, but I mean, if he tucks his chin and learns how to, land a certain way, he's not going to end up with all these injuries.
Yeah, and
he might be sore for about a day or so, but
it's just like it's just because he's as big as he is, but as athletic as he is just that's when you hurt a knee or an ankle.
You got to keep that. Listen, I hope I'm not a Sixers hater. I'm not. I want the Sixers to win. But to me, I just don't see how they do. Especially when you got Embiid hurt going into the series, which somebody said yesterday. And I'm sorry. I love the guys on Saturday morning, but somebody homered it up yesterday saying that it was that it's all a work or a lie of Joel's knee. Like it's not as bad as it really seems, and that he's going to come in and
Fuji saying everyone needs to step up for the Sixers team. It's always the unsung, he said, heroes. Yeah, and listen, I agree with that. But that's if we're holding the boat a day or game or two. The question is, I'm not getting great vibes from the situation.
I'm not either.
I mean,
but
even Doc was very, for everybody, who, beats up on Doc, he was very telling. Maybe he shouldn't play poker. I don't know what it is. He goes, well, the way he comes down, the way it's swelled up right away, that's not good. The 3 letters a coach does not like to hear is MRI. That's not good. This is this just I feel like they're hiding something. Now, I actually it was funny. Former EOP show host and now WIP producer Kyle Quinn, he posted Embiid will play game 1. Now I don't know if he was just being funny or sarcastic. He tweeted that, but I tweeted back at him like, "Is this wishful thinking or you think gamesmanship?" And he just said, "Ha, exactly. Like that's what it is. I mean, if he's out there,
if he's
he's a
out there, they got a
decoy.
better chance to win.
He's
If
a
he's not
decoy.
out there, like, I'm sorry. Like, I like Paul Reed. I think Paul Reed's games come up, but
Steve said, I'm not giving up on this different vibe team. Yeah, they are definitely a different vibe team. They definitely are gelled faster than any other team. They I think the best way of putting it, Steve, to kind of go along with what you're saying, is everybody's accepted their roles. I think Harden is accepted as a role as a facilitator. Maxey knows what his role is. And B knows he's the superstar.
and
Tobias knows he's a catch and shoot guy and play some hard defense.
Melton,
Melton, these guys come in. McDaniels have come in and do their job. I mean, you're not looking for uh, Korkmaz to be your guy coming off the bench.
Reed stepped up his
I
game.
mean,
So I mean,
Paul Reed. I always said Paul Reed looks like he was trying to do his best Joel Embiid impression and
now
just
he's
not
just.
playing Paul Reed ball. Now he's playing Paul Reed ball.
I mean, if they get anything out of him, that could be something. But
Yeah,
it's an uphill battle. You know what I mean? And I kept telling these guys like, Boston's just a different breed, man. And yeah, the Sixers got a good. They got rid of the taste out of their mouth, but now they got to see them again. And now you got them in only for 7 games.
yeah.
It's going to be rough, man. It's going to be hard, and especially you ain't got your best player.
Like I said, saving grace maybe is that they're coming off a really hard fought series.
Well, yeah,
They've been able to rest and be the whole team, sans Joel Embiid will be able to be healthier.
true. And like I said, I think Atlanta exposed some of their defects on.
Oh, they're watching the last couple of games.
Yeah, I mean,
if I'm sitting there, I'm like, if I'm Doc Rivers, I'm like, all right, everybody, the Celtics Hawks game is on at 7:00 tonight or 8:00 tonight. I will see you guys here at 6:30 or 7:30, and we're going to sit down and we're going to watch this game and we're going to break it down together. Like I'd be watching, like, let's see where the Hawks have exposed them.
yeah, it's like, yeah, let's order some pizza, guys. Let's watch this game because, like I said, the Hawks were just killing them on the perimeter, man.
Well, that's the thing is, Jason Tatum isn't what he has been recently.
Well, I think he's banged up too. I think he's kind of secretly him and
up.
Brown.
Yeah.
So I mean,
it's smart. I mean,
that's the dude. That's the guy you got to watch out for this.
But he hasn't been 100% either. So.
No, that's what I'm saying. So,
like I said,
they're
coming off a hard-fought series. We've had time to rest. That might be our saving grace to steal game 1 in Boston, even if Joel Embiid isn't
Listen,
playing.
they just got to win one. I think if they win one,
I think with Joel Embiid, if they came back with 1 win in Boston, they split Boston 1-1. You're happy, right?
Yeah, you got to take one. I would love for it to go 6 and the Sixers wrap it up here in 6 games. I really would. I think it's just going to go the other way.
Well, if you're going to travel to Boston or stay here in Philly to get those tickets, where do we go?
Sherry'sTickets.com.
Sherry'sTickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Sports, concerts, theater events, you name it, they got it. There is no hidden fees. Me and Mike stress this every time we talk about it. You look at it, you pull it up on your phone, you pull it up on your computer, you look at it, you see the price. You don't have to go, hey, hon, I get those tickets for you. They're only $150. Never mind. They're $300 a piece at checkout. You're not going to get that at Sherry'sTickets.com. And you'll be able to say, hey, hon, I saved an additional 10% off by using a great promo code saying EOP10 over at Sherry'sTickets.com. Check it out. Sherry's Ticket Town. Go to Sherry'sTickets.com.
Believe it or not, man, I was actually looking on there because Godsmack's coming.
Yeah. I bought a bunch of tickets from them.
Godsmack's coming.
I've been using them before here. It just once we started working with them, of course.
Yeah, I was looking on their site because actually the weekend of the Pittsburgh trip, that Friday night they're playing over in Camden. So I want to go. They're like a bucket list group that I haven't seen. So every time I've been in every time they've come to town here, I've been out of town.
Oh,
So,
jeez.
so that's why I figured, I can make it out to Pittsburgh the next morning. Steve says Celts have a lot of sticky defenders. Maxey has to play off the ball. He does. Maxey can't disappear in this series.
No, nobody can. Everybody's got to play that level that we saw against the Nets. That's for an inferior team by far. It was very luck of the draw. I mean, think about it. The number 1 overall seed had to play Miami and lost.
Yeah.
The second overall seed had to play the Hawks, and they took them 6 games.
Right.
We got lucky as playing the third seed, playing the 5th seed, and playing because the Celtics, the Nets were a completely different team, so they racked up some wins, and they will stabilize and keep their playoff spot. But they were not the same team.
Dude, you know what series surprised me was the Knicks. To answer Dave's question, I think that he's going to. What you've been seeing as far as bench wise, that's what he's going to continue to do. Doc's not going to change it up now.
No.
So if he was going 9 deep, he's going to do that. If we see Drexel 1 second, that's a white flag. No Furk either. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The only time I want to see Furk or Springer or any of those guys in there, that means the Sixers are like 40 points ahead and they're just letting them rest. They're just walloping the Boston Celtics, which that's a pipe dream.
Yeah,
let's call for what it is. We have a little time left, and we're just going to touch on it a little bit right now because Mike and I will be back sitting right in these spots again in the studio.
In a few hours. So.
Yeah, in a few hours at 4 o'clock to be exact, with James Scorza and Joe Marks from Patterson Fanatics, as well as Chet from Philly Press Box Radio. And actually, I didn't even notice that, but I'm looking on the screen.
You got your
I got this T-shirt on. I didn't even notice that. That was not on purpose.
You know why I wore this? This is the Eagles championship T-shirt.
Yeah, from this year.
I wore it for one reason because we're going back there.
Yeah.
And
I think this is a new rivalry building. I think we'll start to hate the Niners more than we hate Dallas at one point.
You know what? I can never have the hate for the Niners. I mean, yeah, I was a little PO'd at some of their fan bases and the way that their I guess their sports radio personnel acted when they came here. I don't hate the Niners though. I mean, I really don't. I have a different of opinion of their fan base now. Some of them. Now, don't get it wrong. I can't really talk about. We can talk about fan base because ours is all over the place. Our doors at the Village have not been guarded. We've let a few idiots out of the Village.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, but it's in all fan bases, really. I think the best is like they talk so bad about Philly, but like I'm going to bring up San Francisco. Did you see the Dodgers and Giants fans fighting?
Oh well, I mean
I'm talking. It was a Pier 6 going crazy. If that would have been here, it would have been national news.
Oh well,
but because it's out in Frisco,
there's people who died in the Dodgers fights. People fell over the railing.
Stabbings. Like I've been to a lot of Phillies games, a lot of Eagles games. I don't remember nobody getting stabbed at an Eagles game. Well, yet they look at us. They look
usually outside, not inside.
True, but I'm saying like, us we carry torches and pitchforks, and we're looking to eat our young.
We're
just like, dude, give me a break.
We're the prototypical monsters of the NFL.
Yeah, us and the Raider fans. Which, to be honest with you, if you ever been to a Raiders game, they're probably some of the coolest people in the world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like their fan base is pretty cool. Even the diehard. Like I met a Raiders fan when I was in Vegas, man. No, that's the second biggest rivalry in baseball. The biggest rivalry in baseball is Yankees Red Sox. And as a Phillies fan, it pains me to say that, but that's the biggest rivalry.
I agree with Steve, though. I would say these guys they go to fisticuffs more than anybody.
They do. Well,
I mean, I've heard Yankees Red Sox rivalry.
It's nasty in Boston. Huh? Like New York Yankee fans, they're not trying to throw hands with those guys. Like in Boston, though, yeah, I've seen stuff like that where they just.
I've seen it. I've witnessed it.
I seen a Yankees fan get smacked right in the mouth just for walking in the wrong bar in Boston, wearing his Yankees hat. Like, dude walked in and walked out the same way. Just his hat was a little crooked. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, wow.
I mean, I'm not saying it was right, but
listen, it gets a little crazy at times, but no, I mean, ultimately, the we do get a bad rap because of.
I mean, some of it's self-serve. Like the dude eating horse poop,
Well, that's just
like we can't answer for that. I just look and tell people. I said, look,
he was.
he ate.
I say he's from Jersey. That's what I tell people.
No, well, he probably was,
No,
but
he was from Jersey.
he's from Jersey.
I say
Oh, I
he's
said,
from Jersey.
well, there you go. I just tell people like, look, man, the guard fell asleep at the gate and one of our idiots escaped. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Dave, listen, Mets and Phillies are pretty big too. But my point to this is I'm talking about rivalries that go to blows. That's what I'm talking about. And Mike says it himself, like if it wasn't Philly, it's national news. Everybody's talking about it.
If
It's
it's
all
Philly,
over
it's national
ESPN,
news. Yeah.
Fox Sports,
If
radio shows. Oh, typical, and that's what I'm saying. Typical Philly fans, blah
But
blah blah. But no, it's not. Like, we might argue and scream, and listen, you're gonna have some ridiculous knucklehead pour beer on somebody, and there's gonna be the occasional fight. I mean, one of the most famous fights was at the vet with the older guys fighting the younger guys. I'll tell you a little story about that real quick. That was my old boss when I was in high school, when I worked at a gas station over here in Delaware County. Um, and I, for about 2 weeks straight, so it was my boss who was an idiot. God rest his soul, but he was an idiot. And his friend, who I think also passed away. So yeah, he was an idiot too. They were just two knuckleheads. And they got it's on the Eagles DVD, like the original DVD before they won. It was one of the, it was all over ESPN. And it was funny because I would be working at this gas station and I'd pick up the phone and I'd be like, hello. And they'd be like, oh, you better, wait after your shift. We're going to kill you. We're going to come there and beat you up. I'm like, well, can you do it now? I don't want to work and then get killed. Like, I don't want to, like, I started messing with these people. We were getting calls left and right. We had to take the phone off the hook at one point, and you're, a business, who fixes cars. It's kind of hard to do. And my knucklehead boss gets a call. I don't know who it was. I think it could have been ESPN. He said it was ESPN, but it could have been any news outlet who said, we want to interview you guys. Can we interview you? And he's like, yeah, we can do that. And the other guy who's with him, and I'm sitting there, I look at him, and we both look at him like, you're incriminating yourself. Like, somebody could come and arrest you for doing that. We'll be fine. We'll be fine. He's like, we'll be fine. Yeah, he wanted to be part of. He thought he was a celebrity.
It's gonna be his 10 minutes of fame.
10 seconds or whatever you want to call it. But he did the interview. He sounded like a complete idiot during the interview. And the guy sitting there with him just kind of like nodding along and gets arrested literally after the interview. The cops were sitting there waiting for the interview to finish, and he gets arrested like a moron. I'm like, dude, just walk away from it. You're an idiot. And you're fighting a bunch of high school kids, and that's what happens. But yeah, that was back in like the early 2009. Like these things continually happen in the other ones. So
dude, I got caught. Really little story. Opening day. Big, I want to say it was 94 opening day. Yeah, big rumble.
Was it late? That was late, wasn't it? Opening
bunch
day?
of whole high school kids. Everybody cut and went down to the Phillies game.
Yeah, because that was later. Because weren't they on strike?
No, they went on strike in the middle of 94.
It was middle of 94. Okay.
I was at the last game in 94. But before they went on strike, they played the Mets. They lost 2-1. Ty Pratt hit a home run to beat us.
Yeah.
I was there, but yeah, dude, oh man. It's crazy because like I remember there was a bunch of kids. It was more like I remember we were hanging around and it was all boom.
Freddie said, "Don't incriminate yourself now." The cops are waiting outside.
Hey,
the
listen,
studio.
if they're gonna get me for a fist fight back in
yeah, I think statute of
94,
limitations is
State statue kind of hit it up there, but I'm not going to do that. But now, listen, it was just crazy. Like I remember that made news, and I remember my mom looking at me going, "Hey, weren't you down there?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Were you involved in that?" I was like, "Mom, nah, we were behind home plate. That happened out in left field. We were just watching." Like, yeah.
Listen, the reality of the Santa Claus incident versus the narrative that gets pushed is complete
Oh
180.
God.
I mean, that's my thing. It's like we're still dealing with things like that from
and the snowballs.
The vet had a jail in it. Okay, a lot of these places, these big places, have holding cells.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but we actually had a court.
Yeah, we
but
had a court and
I
judge.
tell people,
I know.
Dude, when they ask me about that, like if I'm talking to somebody from a different area and they ask me about that, they're like, "Yeah, what's up with the whole court thing?" I said, "Listen, it's not a court thing." I was like, it was a room I said every stadium has holding cells. I said regardless whether you want to think it or not, they do. I was like, they have to have a place to put you in case if you get unruly.
Mhm.
That's always been
Yeah.
it didn't matter. And I told him, I said, the Eagles, one of the Eagles friggin' Freddie Lloyd, he wears like a badge of honor there, Freddie. But I would tell them, like, look, you do realize I said that the judge that presided over that got an extra couple $100 to sit there and dude, I was like, he literally would bring his robe in. I was like, he would watch the game. He was a
Mhm.
season ticket holder.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people don't realize that McCafferty was a season ticket holder with the Eagles and then just did that on the side. If you acted out, you get punished. But it's oh, your fans are so ruly. You know what I tell people? You know the difference between Giant fans and Eagle fans? About 25 years in age. Because they act the same way up there. I've been to the old stadium. I haven't been to Snoopy Stadium yet, but I've been to the old stadium, and I'll tell you what, I had like 60-year-old dudes wanting to fight me because I had a Reggie White jersey on.
Mhm.
And I'm like, dude, I'm like, your pacemaker may explode, man. Just sit down, relax, enjoy
Yeah.
the game.
Well, that's my thing. Is like it's always something. They're always going to, no matter what. And you know what? And if how many times have you watched like where they were talking about a fight somewhere else, nothing to do with Philadelphia, but Philadelphia
He gets
somehow
brought
brought
up.
up like, you always think Philly's a bad place, but this looks like a typical fight at a Philly game, or whatever. You want us to be the bad boys? We'll be your bad boys. Whatever. I don't
I think
care.
we kind of embrace that.
Oh yeah,
Now it's just like, okay,
100%.
look, if you're going to accuse us of being it, we might as well.
Yeah,
You know what I
100%,
mean?
100%. But we're gonna just like I said, we're just gonna touch on because we're almost out of time anyway. The draft because like I said,
You
in
want to do
about
the first two picks? We'll save the rest.
yeah, we're gonna just talk about more. We'll be more in depth at 4 o'clock today with the draft wrap up show. And like you said, the first two picks, Mike, in your heart of hearts.
There's no way. I didn't think we were getting both. But I was
Well, let me
watching.
ask this question. I don't even say both. What were your odds in your head that you're even at number 10 or how to move without that you were going to get even if they had to move up, they were going to get Jalen Carter.
I didn't think he was making it past 5.
Me neither. And I
I
don't
didn't
think they were going to.
listen. I
And
was,
I didn't think they were going to spend that kind of money to move
bro.
him up
Listen,
past 5.
when I saw Seattle took Devin Witherspoon, I went, "Uh oh!" Like I knew then that I was like, "He's going to the Birds." Like I'm sitting there watching the draft. I was like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "They took Devin Witherspoon." I'm like, "Oh no!" I was like, and I was like, "Okay." And I'm watching the board go down. What killed me was I wanted Bijan, but I didn't want him at 10. I really didn't. And just watching how that draft board played out, everybody was talking about Sharonsky being the best offensive lineman, yet he goes second.
Mhm.
You know, and
There was a lot of
dude, Will Levis not being taken to the second round was an absolute joke.
well,
I feel
I don't
like
know if
he
I can
was.
agree with that. I mean,
I feel he's just as good as Anthony Richardson was, and he went third.
that's all right, fine, debatable, but some of the calls and the one that
One was a head
the
scratcher.
one that really played in favor for the Eagles in the long run, which was to me the head scratcher, was Jahmyr Gibbs at 12.
Yes,
That was like,
dude, that's the Lions being the Lions. I'm sorry.
and how about like the Falcons taking
Bijan was
Bijan
stupid too.
was the typical Falcons move. They went for a big splash player, but they're wasting Bijan's career. Like they just wasted at least the
Dude,
first 2
he's
years.
only going to be there 5. I don't think he gets through his option year. I don't because I don't know if that's team control or not. I think it's either or. He can negotiate that, but I think he's only going to be there 4 years. After that, he's gone. He ain't going to want to stay there.
Yeah,
He's not going to want to. I mean,
I don't think he wants to,
although
I
if
don't
you,
think they wants to be there. I mean, listen, I've heard for the last couple of years, they're making changes, they're trying to change their ground. Who do they got? Who's their quarterback?
the kid they drafted a year ago, right?
Well, they just brought in they brought somebody in.
They brought somebody in for a year, but I could have sworn they drafted a quarterback last year.
They did, and Tyler
Yeah.
Heineke they brought in.
Okay.
It was Ritter.
Desmond Ritter. Yeah.
Desmond Ritter, yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, Ritter gets another year to learn, but they got,
Their O line isn't great, and I don't say anything.
but their skill position players are.
But that's my thing is that's what they do. They have like Kyle Pitts, but who's throwing to him? Tyler Heineke
If
has.
Heineke's throwing to him,
He's probably better off than where he's been lately.
but
But
look at that division. Like, really, who's going to win that division?
So he's saying Detroit Lions plus Bears plus Falcons equal
No, I'm not
incompetency
going to get on the
incorporated.
Bears. The Bears have had a great offseason. And the Lions have had a great offseason. Their GM was just a bonehead, and he overreacted because he could have got him later on in the draft.
Who?
Gibbs. He could have got Gibbs later on in the first round. Like, I don't know what he was
I
thinking.
mean, obviously they were over. They were not. They were going to try to go for a running back, and they were going to try to get a premier one. And maybe they were hoping that Bijan was going to fall to them because I actually did not see Bijan getting picked that early.
I was surprised.
I thought he was going to be a later first round pick.
I thought he was probably going to go mid-teens.
Yeah.
Like, there were so many surprises. Like, I thought Joey Porter would get drafted earlier than what he did. Now, he went to the team that I thought he was going to go to.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was going to go to Pittsburgh.
That makes sense.
Well, it does. His dad played there, but I thought they were going to use a first rounder on him. But
they got him early in the second round.
How about this? How about Gonzalez? How far did he drop?
I mean, that's the other thing. There's a lot of cornerbacks that went ahead of him. The quarterback class, like you said, was a little topsy turvy.
Yeah, it was. I mean,
but does anybody in this quarterback class really blow you away? He's the next Andrew Luck. He's the next whatever. Like,
I think Levis is probably.
Who do you think is the most
out of this quarterback class? I think
slam dunk quarterback. Like, you think he's going to be an NFL, an NFL quarterback. You don't have to say a star, but there's no doubt in your mind he's going to be good enough to play in the NFL. I don't think any of them I can say.
Levis.
I think Bryce Young is, if it wasn't for his height and all that stuff.
His height gets him. Stroud, he's got maybe Richardson. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I've always seen Richardson play like maybe a handful of games, so I'm not really familiar with everything he brings to the table. But he is going to work with Shane Steichen, so
that's what they're looking at. Yeah,
you know what I mean. Maybe Steichen can help him out. But again, that's another division that's kind of up in the air, really, if you look at it.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, let's run through this real quick. This will, a quick exercise. I mean, Bryce Young went first overall to Carolina, and then C.J. Stroud went to Houston, which they kept saying, "Oh, we're not taking C.J.," and they took him first. But then the Texans kind of blew everybody's mind by trading up and getting number 3 pick,
Will Anderson,
and got Will Anderson. So they got their quarterback
took him right from Jonathan Gannon.
Yep,
and I love it.
Then the Colts took Anthony Richardson, who, yes, like you said, will be working with Shane Steichen. Seattle took Devin Witherspoon.
That shocked everybody because everybody thought Jalen Carter was going there.
Yeah. Paris Johnson went to the Cardinals, which is a smart move on them.
I was surprised with that. I really thought they were going to go defense.
You would think with Jonathan Gannon.
Right.
And how about that? How about the news breaking that they settled that out and with some pick swapping? With the
now we know why our defense wasn't. Well,
yeah.
Did you see Darius Sweet's tweet after we got
Darius Sweet tweet?
Yeah, after the first round.
No.
He said, "Oh, he goes, we got some dogs." He goes, "I finally ain't got to cover for 20 seconds." I'm like, ooh, it's starting to see more and more that these guys really they put up with Gannon, but I don't think they like playing.
Nobody ever spoke out against. Well, no, Fletcher Cox did the year before.
Mm-hmm.
But then it seemed like he was okay, but the team played well. I think he's like, all right, he's not bad, but he's an odd duck.
Yeah.
You could see that, and sometimes it's hard to get around. But then we go over to Paris Johnson at number 6 to the Cardinals. Then number 7, the Raiders took Tyree Wilson.
I thought that was a good pickup too.
Yeah, I mean, I liked him too. I had him on my big board for the Eagles. I would have liked to see him. Then Atlanta, of course, picks Bijan, which was no shock to me at all. I thought that's what I said. I said Bijan goes early. It's going to be to somebody like the Falcons.
Believe it or not, like I said, I was watching between here and over the other network that I'm on, and Dave Yarnold kept calling that. He's like, I'm hearing Bijan to Atlanta. So, like, Dave actually got a couple right.
Well, if one team's going to take even a premier, there's going to be there's certain teams that have the foresight to take a top tier running back like him when they're hurting in so many areas. The Falcons would be dumb enough to do that. Yeah. It's like the Giants, and they've done that. The Cowboys, they've done it. I mean, it would have made more sense for the Eagles to take him at 10 if, say, Jalen Carter was off this board already, because you had 2 first round picks, and then that way you can add to your offense. But The number 9 pick, the Bears were at 9 and Eagles were at 10, and they did an easy little trade to swap 9 to
Now,
10.
let me ask you a question. Do you think the Bears would have taken
I
Jalen
don't
Carter?
think so.
I don't think so either. Like, I don't
But
think
I
the
don't think
Eagles.
I don't think they were willing to take that chance.
Like, I want to know who made that call.
I think they had 2 guys on their board, and they were going to take an offensive lineman, and they knew the Bears had other picks, so they think they're like, all right, let's just only cost them one. I forget what it was.
It's a 4th-round pick.
4th-round pick, so whatever. Eagles then move up to number 9, take arguably one of the best players in the draft.
Yeah, he was the best player before.
Yeah, and got another Georgia Bulldog in Jalen Carter. Then Chicago then takes Darnell White, an offensive tackle, which went over Skoronski, so he went even before that.
Well, Darnell, that's the kid from Tennessee?
Yes.
Yeah, he's a beast. He's nasty. I thought he was better than Skoronski, to be
Well, a
honest
lot
with
of
you.
people, the problem people had with Skoronski was his
Arms.
arm length.
Yeah, he got Kenny Pickett arms.
And hands.
And
Small
hands, yeah.
And then Peter Skoronski went to the Titans, the next pick. The Lions, then this was probably the biggest head shaker at the moment, was number 12 overall, Detroit Lions take Jahmyr Gibbs, Alabama running back. And really, like, he's going to be available later in the round and probably into the second round. But whatever. Lucas Van Ness went number 13, which I thought was a little early, but the Packers picked up a linebacker and continued to do Packer type stuff. Broderick Jones, which a huge pickup as an offensive tackle for the Steelers. I like.
Yeah, that's big, he's Georgia, right?
Yeah, big nasty dude.
Well, Pittsburgh pounds the rock, so that's their whole thing in a nutshell. So that was a good pickup for them.
The Jets pick up Iowa State's Will McDonald IV for the edge rusher. Commanders take Emmanuel Forbes at quarterback, which I think was
a good pickup.
Yeah. The Pats are lucky enough to have Christian Gonzalez slide to him.
Yeah, how about 17. That? But you know what? I thought he was overrated, though. Like, they had him as the best cornerback in the draft, and I felt Witherspoon was the best.
Then the Lions, continuing with their still head scratcher. And I'm not saying anything against this next player, but again, probably somebody they could have maybe got lucky and traded up and got into early in the second round. Jack Campbell, linebacker out of Iowa.
That was a good pickup.
He's a good pickup. And that's my point. He's not a bad player. I just think he would have been available. I did not see Jack Campbell going in the first round.
I did. I seen him. I had him going late.
Okay.
Because he's a game changer, man. He can hit.
He does fit the mold.
He does.
Of that Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell, which is no relation. Number 19, the Bucks pick up Kalijah Kancey, defensive tackle. Another one. I
was. Dude, when I saw he went that early, I was like, oh, because they had him going later, like around where the Eagles would pick.
Seattle back on the board at number 20. Take
that's what killed me.
Yeah.
Now, you want to talk about a team now who's got?
I thought if he kept sliding, I'm like, dude, the Eagles could
they could.
In Jigba,
but, dude, now you want to talk about a team who's got 3? They got a triple threat too. Look at that, Tyler Lockett, Metcalf, and now Njigba. Holy cow, man! Gino's got some weapons.
This has to be the best Eagles draft in history. But if you look at 2018, that was damn good too. Malata, Swat, Maddox, Goddard, and Pryor. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's on paper right now. There's the paper draft.
They got to get the work.
That's the paper draft. Levis's girl didn't think so. I think they're just because I felt bad for. I don't know if you were watching the actual draft on
dude. They kept showing him. I'm like, dude, man, leave that boy alone.
He's like looking down at his phone, like, please pan away from me. I don't need this. Go away. Go away. I think they just thought the girls were pretty that he was talking to. Then that brings us to 21. The Chargers take Quentin Johnson, another good wide receiver.
Yeah.
I just don't see the Eagles taking a TCU wide receiver anytime soon. 22 Ravens got Zay Flowers, got a piece for Jamar. And actually, Lamar Jackson, he got signed right in the beginning, right before the draft started.
Yep.
For an extra $5 million than Jalen got. I think they were just like, I'll just wait for Jalen to get signed, then I'll just get $5 more million and I'll be happy. Minnesota Vikings at 23 take Jordan Addison, another good wide receiver.
Now listen,
USC guy.
Well, here's the thing. Now you pair him up with Justin Jefferson. That's going to be very formidable for Cousins.
Yeah, and he'll screw it up. my disdain for
You love Kirk Cousins.
Disdain.
Draft him every year, right?
The Giants had a good draft. We talked about this, and they got Deontay Banks, a really good quarterback from Maryland.
Yeah.
So they traded.
I had him
They
going.
traded with Jacksonville to move up.
I actually had him going a little higher.
Mm-hmm.
Believe it or not, Deontay Banks.
Dalton Kincaid goes to the Bills.
This was the steal of the later round.
Yeah.
And the fact, the way the Bills did it, they jumped the Cowboys because they knew the Cowboys wanted him.
Yeah.
Well, if I remember right, too, Dawson Knox left the free agency this year. So they got to replace Dawson Knox up there. So they went and drafted this kid, and they stuck the Cowboys, which was great.
Then, speaking of the Cowboys, at number 26, they take Mozzie Smith, defensive.
Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean,
he would have been.
Dave Yarnell literally was saying this guy's name. Yeah, Mozzie Smith. I'm watching him while they're doing their show, their draft show over at Out of the Box, and I'm watching, and he's saying like Mozzie, and I'm sitting there going, dude, you didn't watch him play not one down of football.
Yeah,
and you're over here cheering him. That to me, that was
on the
not,
board.
that was not
on the big boards of the professionals. He was definitely a second round day 2 guy.
Yeah, he was
not.
Matter of fact, I think his teammate probably
just
should have
know
won
that
higher.
you have Miles Murphy on the edge who would have fit just that,
Yes.
that scheme. And he went 2 picks later to Bengals. Could you imagine being the Bengals, being 28 overall and having Miles Murphy slip to you? You don't even have to trade up or anything.
Who went after them? Who went right after the Cowboys?
It was the Jags, because that's when they switched with Buffalo. And they got Anton Harrison, Oklahoma offensive tackle. So,
Okay.
Yeah, and he's a
Yeah,
big
but
boy
Miles
too.
Murphy, yeah, like, can you like, to me, I think they screwed up because you get
And
Miles Murphy.
That's Dougie P going. Yeah, we need a good, knowing how good important offensive tackles are.
Yeah, but I mean, as far as like getting back to the Cowboys, like, to me,
Would you rather have Brian Breesy or Mozzie Smith?
Who?
Brian Breesy, the guy from Clemson.
I would have had him. Yeah.
Okay, he was available.
He was available. So was the other kid you were just talking about. Like, why would you not? Like, no offense, but they are going to wear out Michael Parsons if they keep sending him as
Did you hear about that, by the way?
Oh, it was the most beautiful thing.
Walked off a set or something.
No, he didn't walk off. He was like, "Oh, come on." He got sick, dude. When they
I got nauseated. They made me sick to my stomach.
He goes like this, and then the funny thing is, AJ Brown was a part of that same podcast.
Yeah,
he came on. AJ just holds up some tissues. He goes, "You need these," especially after they got Nolan Smith. He was like, "Let me get this right." He was like, "Oh," and of course he's like, "Well, you can always, you can always come. You can always come over here."
Philly guy. He is a Philly guy.
Harrisburg native,
but he's a Phillies fan and all that stuff. Then, of course, we all know, like I said, Miles Murphy went to 28. The Bengals, number 29. Brian Breesy went to the Saints. I actually saw him sliding to 30. Like, it wasn't a reach for him to be down here. Or the Eagles could have popped up a couple spots to get him. I did not think Nolan Smith was going to be number 30.
I was surprised New Orleans didn't take him.
I was surprised a couple people didn't take him. And it was because of the Jack Campbell picks and the Jahmyr Gibbs picks. I'm really, really surprised that he slid there. We didn't have to move up to get him. I would have seen Nolan Smith being taken at number 10 by the Eagles. And I wouldn't. And would you have questioned it?
No.
Not at all. So the fact that you could have 2 of your guys that you would have picked at 10 in the first round was huge. And then against the Chiefs, again, things slid to them as well. They took the edge rusher from Kansas State, Felix Ndaki Uzama. I'm trying to get his name right, but he's a stud too. So I mean,
where did the kid from Northwestern go?
Which one?
The edge rusher. He probably went round 2.
Yeah, it definitely was round 1.
Yeah, because they had him like tallies going like end of first round. Is Holloway or something like that? His name is.
I'm not seeing anybody from Northwestern in round 2 at all.
Oh, well, maybe he went later then.
Yeah, he must have went into the other later rounds. But
they had him going like towards the end of the first round. They were talking about the Eagles picking him up. But
I mean,
also, you know who I was looking at? I was hoping the Eagles would draft him, but I'm pretty sure he had to get swiped up. Was the tackle from North Dakota State? The one that looks like a hockey player?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. The red hair and all
red
that
hair,
stuff.
Yeah. I was like, dude, he's so Philly right now.
Yeah, they said he went much later. He not much. Yeah, fairly later. You're talking about, and I know. I'm the guy with 2 A's.
Yes.
Hey, I'm going to try to say this. At Tamawa Adobor. I think
Adobe or
Adobe.
something.
It's
Yeah.
I don't know. Adobe Whore. That's what it looks like. He went 110, so that's fourth round, eighth pick in the fourth round.
Wow.
To the Colts.
He'll help that defense out.
Yeah. So, guys, that is about it. Real quick, I want to remind you. Let's see. Let's look at this. Shoemaker, Taco Charlton, Jordan Lewis, Mozzie Smith. The list goes on. Yes. The Cowboys had an awful draft. I'm a huge Michigan fan, but I'll tell you, Dallas picked all the wrong ones. It's hilarious. And can I point this out? How excited these guys get in the war rooms when they make a pick.
Oh
Like
God.
we were making fun of one. I forget who the pick was. It wasn't Cowboys. And somebody said the Cowboys war room looks like a meeting at the Death Star. Like I'm like, dude, it's so true. The way it's all set up and like here's Jerry Jones, like he sat there and planned this out. I gotta be in the middle. And everybody else is around me, and then those ancillary guys are behind them. Like very purposeful. But I forget who it was. And it was not. It was. I think it was the Lions. I think that's when they got Gibbs.
Gibbs, yeah, he was like going nuts.
They're like slapping five and like hitting each other real hard and pumping chest. They're so excited.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like,
guys.
I'm like, you got a guy. You took him 18 spots
You
early.
got him a lot earlier than anybody else was going to get him. So
smartest guys in the room.
Yeah. But like I said earlier in the show, May 11th looks like it's the tentative date for the release of the Eagles schedule. So right now it says to be determined, but here's your Philly sports trips. 6 of them lined up so far. They're going back to Kansas City after just being out there. New England, Dallas, Los Angeles, Seattle, and Tampa. Now, all can depend. I wonder if something changes with when the Eagles find out who they're going to be playing in Germany.
They're playing in Germany?
Yep. They're playing in Germany this year.
Oh, that's cool. That's a 9:00 game, right?
I wonder.
Yeah.
I guess. I mean, they can't be any earlier than that because the England games were 9, right?
Well, guess what?
And Germany's got to be at least one time zone away, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they'll be playing
10. Okay, guess what? That week we're coming in. That week we're going to come in. Whatever it's scheduled.
They're in Hamburg, I think it is. Hamburg, Germany.
Oh, so they're playing a game in Germany, huh?
Yeah, and that was the thing that we were all kind of like trying to figure out when because in London right now it's 10:39. So that means it's 3:39 p.m. in London. So if in London they play at 9, it's like a 2:00 game to them. Let's add Hamburg, Germany here. Let's see what it says.
It'd probably be like another hour, dude. I can't see because they're like right there.
Yeah, 4:39. Yeah, so it's another hour.
So it's another hour.
A 3:00 game for them.
So it'd be a 3:00 game for them. It would be or 4:00. They could do 4:00 game for them over there, and then it would be.
Yeah, but they're not going to want to run into their 1:00 start.
They're gonna have a 1:00 start. Think about it. 4:00 over there is 10:00 in the morning.
No, I mean of the 1:00 games on the NFL schedule. It's probably going to be a 9:00 start.
Yeah, maybe I could see that.
Not just because that's how they did in London. Then they would run right into, within a half hour, they'd be running right into the one.
Yeah, well, that weekend, Pat, we're coming in doing it on Saturday.
Yeah,
we're going to do this show on Saturday.
Listen, we're going to have a meeting with the EOP and look at the schedule once it's released to make sure.
Yeah,
just to be on the.
I got to be at a bar somewhere watching that one.
But PhillySportsTrips.com is the place you're going to go to check out the appointment.
That Tampa trip's looking really good.
Yeah,
man.
right.
I'm thinking about doing that.
And you went traveling to Tampa I was just there. It's not hard. Yeah. It's very it's great. He looked like a kid in a candy store on the same pics the Eagles made. Howie looked like a kid in a candy. Oh, Howie looked like a kid in a candy shop.
That's because Howie's just.
I'm not sitting there saying you can't be excited that the guy that you wanted fell to you, but the way they were acting that's the same fist pumping and chest pounding that I would do if I won the Super Bowl. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, like they were overly.
They were, we got Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm like, you could have got him 20 picks later. You could have traded back 10 picks, got yourself some more draft capital, and still got Jahmyr Gibbs. Without a doubt. Without a doubt. Dave, you can tell me whatever you want about I'm not saying you can't be excited because you got your guy, but I don't know why that was. Like,
I'm sorry. I think that Dallas's best draft pick that they got was Deuce Vaughn.
yes.
That's their best draft pick that they got. And I'm sorry. I'm a Big Ten guy. I watch Mozzie Smith. He is not worth a first round pick. I'm sorry, he's not. He's a run stuffer. He's a guy that's going to rotate in and out.
Yep. All right, guys. That'll about do it tonight.
Yes, that'll about do it. We will see you guys around what 4:00 now, right? We'll
4
be back
o'clock.
here.
I'll be posting up the show after we get done here. 4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for those who are maybe not in the same time zone we're at.
Yes.
It's
So
4 o'clock Eastern Standard Time zone.
we'll be doing a recap of all the Eagles draft picks. And guys, I don't know, man, but you know what? It's been a sausage-free Sunday, and I'm happy with that.
I will be getting some breakfast sausages probably after this show. But,
Probably.
yeah.
But guys, make sure you stay tuned today. All the upcoming programming on EOP. So for Al Safiri, I'm Big Mike Lauro, man. You guys have a great rest of your day. See you.